George Friedman, America's Secret War, Inside the Hidden Worldwide Struggle Between the United States and Its Enemies. In America's Secret War, George Friedman presents a comprehensive examination of the United States' geopolitical picture in the age of terrorism. Delving into the complex dynamics of Islamic fundamentalism, global geopolitics, and the rise of al-Qaeda, Friedman explores the critical political events that laid the groundwork for the September 11, 2001 attacks. From the United States' involvement in Afghanistan to the role of Saudi Arabia in supporting terrorism, the book sheds light on how America's policies and the geopolitical landscape influenced al-Qaeda's ascension. This mobile book summary will guide you through an engaging depiction of the global struggle between the United States and its enemies, illuminating the roots of modern terrorism and its implications for the contemporary world.
The Fourth Global War. The attacks on September 11, 2001, were just a part of al-Qaeda's three-pronged assault on the United States. The group's success was due to its stealth and discipline, as well as its non-national identity, which made identifying specific plans or timing difficult. The attacks marked the beginning of what the United States recognized as the Fourth Global War, which started when the Cold War ended in a politically polarized atmosphere. This resulted in a dependence on Western support and military power for politically unstable Muslim nations in the region. The US-Soviet Proxy War. In 1979, when the United States was preoccupied with containing the USSR, Islamic rebels upended the Iranian government and began basing it on Islamic law. Fearing that the USSR would collaborate with Iran or invade Afghanistan, President Jimmy Carter funded the Afghan guerrillas to fight against the Soviets. When Ronald Reagan took over, he continued the same Afghan policies. William Casey, his appointed CIA head, encouraged young Muslims, especially Saudis, to wage jihad in Afghanistan, believing that Muslim fundamentalism would unsettle the Soviets. The U.S. also entered into mutual agreements with Afghanistan's Muslim fundamentalists and the Saudi-backed Mujahideen, asking Pakistan to provide support. By 1989, the Soviet Union withdrew from Afghanistan, and the foundations for al-Qaeda and the Taliban had been laid. The roots of al-Qaeda. After the fall of the USSR, the Islamic fighters in Afghanistan pivoted towards Islamic fundamentalism, dedicating themselves to breaking the US's psychological dependency and generating confidence among the Islamic masses. Through covert foreign policies and playing two sides against each other, the US inadvertently bolstered conservative Saudi Arabian Wahhabis by moving troops onto Saudi soil, leading the trained Islamic troops to challenge Saudi leaders and establish a global religious Muslim empire, culminating in the rise of al-Qaeda. The root cause of this growth lies in the disenfranchisement of the guerrilla warriors who were abandoned by the U.S. without identity papers or any welcome home. Al-Qaeda's vision for Islamic unity. Al-Qaeda aimed to establish an Islamic caliphate, with Afghanistan as its model, and a centralized Muslim ruler with military, political, and religious powers. To achieve this, Osama bin Laden organized a small and decentralized al-Qaeda group that sought to motivate Islamic nations to defeat the U.S. The Taliban would serve in the government, while al-Qaeda acted as the military arm. Using its deep understanding of the Islamic world, al-Qaeda sought not Arab unity but Islamic unity, making it distinct from other terrorist groups. Their goal was to evade U.S. intelligence and carry out successful terror missions. The United States War on Terror. Following the World Trade Center attacks on September 11, 2001, President George W. Bush decided to initiate a war on terror. The war began with the invasion of Afghanistan, a logistical nightmare that required access to Pakistan and other former Soviet countries. The United States also needed Russia's support for military bases in two former republics. The decision to invade Iraq was not well supported by many in the administration. The book reflects on the reasons behind the war and the challenges the United States faced at the time, including the difficulty of stopping terrorism in a society with many unguarded targets. Buying loyalty to fight the Taliban. In order to gather reliable allies to fight the Taliban in Afghanistan, the CIA parachuted into the country with $70 million cash. They bought relationships and loyalty while planning for an air war in early October 2001. Successful night air strikes began on October 7, 2001 against key targets in Afghanistan, showing allies that the United States was committed and capable of supporting offensive field activities. Despite only having 82 U.S. soldiers in country at the time, forward observers guided the airstrikes in coordination with the Northern Alliance. To capture Kandahar, a stronghold of the Taliban, America sought the help of Hamid Karzai, who was anti-Taliban and a Pashtun tribal leader. The Pakistanis objected to Karzai's involvement as they wanted to broker a U.S.-Taliban agreement themselves. The debate over whether Pakistan was a U.S. ally against the Taliban began with the dispute over Karzai. Chasing bin Laden and the Nuclear Threat. In this book excerpt, the author delves into the hunting of bin Laden and the escalating fear of a nuclear threat after reports that al-Qaeda had acquired a suitcase-sized nuclear device. Despite attempts to capture bin Laden at the Tora Bora cave complex, the operation failed, and he escaped. This escape caused worldwide panic, and the U.S. adopted a policy to hit any nuclear facility worldwide to prevent radioactive materials or devices from falling into al-Qaeda's hands, causing Pakistan to buckle under pressure. Specialized U.S. forces were ultimately deployed across the Islamic world to prevent a nuclear attack. The book delves into the details and challenges U.S. intelligence and military forces faced in their efforts to neutralize the threats. Saudi Arabia's support for al-Qaeda. Despite persistent requests from the U.S., Saudi Arabia continued to support al-Qaeda due to their fear of the group. The conservative and anti-U.S. sentiment in Saudi society made cooperation difficult. To pressure Saudi Arabia and weaken al-Qaeda, the U.S. invaded Iraq and encircled the country with regional bases. The goal was to curtail Saudi support for al-Qaeda and strengthen anti-al-Qaeda Iranians. Al-Qaeda's desire to conduct a global campaign and foment local civil wars against Muslim countries presents ongoing challenges, requiring the U.S. to continue fighting in Iraq to prevent an al-Qaeda victory.
George Friedman's America's Secret War reveals the intricate geopolitical relationships and historical events that contributed to the rise of terrorism and the September 11, 2001 attacks. The United States' involvement in Afghanistan, the covert deals with Iran and Iraq, and the missteps in handling Saudi Arabia all contributed to al-Qaeda's expansion and emboldenment. As readers navigate through this momentous period in history, they will gain a deeper understanding of America's role in shaping the current global reality. Moreover, the exploration of Islamic fundamentalism, insurgency strategies, and the wider political environment offers valuable insights into the challenges faced by the United States and its allies in the fight against global terrorism. The message of this book is both a wake-up call to the complexities of modern geopolitics and a reminder of the imperative to address these burgeoning issues with utmost care and thorough analysis.